American growers in their 50s and 60s are watching perennials collapse in this record July heat wave. And it was never the heat. Not because they made a mistake, because nobody ever showed them these 12 taproot perennials reach 4 to 15 feet underground for permanent, zero irrigation survival. Before plant number 1, drop your state right now because your USDA zone completely changes which of these performs best for you. Find yours and pay attention. And the one at number 8 kept to themselves and their closest growers for 3 generations, starting with plant 1. Plant number 1, sea holly. This $22 perennial outlives every shallow, rooted plant collapsing in your neighbor's garden during this record-breaking July heat wave, sending its taproot 12 inches down into soil moisture your sprinkler will never reach. Picture metallic steel, blue flower heads glowing like cut sapphire against bone, dry cracked July soil, holding their color through 95-degree afternoons, while everything around them wilts to brown. Zones 3 through 8, full sun, lean soil. Most garden centers sell sea holly as a simple border plant, never mentioning it as one of the few perennials with true metallic, blue coloring instead of dyed or painted foliage tricks. Missouri Botanical Gardens Plant Finder confirms this taproot depth eliminates supplemental watering entirely by year 2 of establishment. That $22 plant replaces $30 to $40 in supplemental watering every single season, permanently. The single mistake most American growers make is transplanting sea holly after its first year. Once that taproot anchors, moving it kills the plant outright. Choose its final spot before you dig. That $22 investment just earned its permanent place in your garden, surviving conditions that kill $30 perennials every single July. Have you ever grown eryngium directly in garden soil? Not in a pot, not babied through summer, but left alone to prove itself. Drop it below. Plant number 2 reaches 15 feet straight down into ground no shovel has ever touched. And somewhere in this video is the story of a grower in Missouri who lost $240 to last July's heat wave. That story is coming. Keep watching. Plant number 2, compass plant. This $24 perennial sends a confirmed 15-foot taproot straight down, reaching groundwater no shallow. Rooted plant in your yard will ever touch during this record heat wave. Picture towering yellow blooms swaying 6 feet overhead, while giant lobed leaves orient themselves north to south, like a living compass needle. Zones 3 through 9, full sun, lean soil. USDA Forest Service documentation confirms what most garden centers never mention. Those giant leaves orient north, south so precisely that prairie travelers once used compass plant for navigation across open grassland. This same source confirms a decade-long lifespan, with the plant blooming more abundantly every successive year rather than declining. That $24 plant becomes a permanent, ever-improving fixture instead of a yearly replacement cost. The single mistake most American growers make is amending the soil with rich compost, treating it like a typical perennial. Compass plant grown in rich soil turns floppy and weak. It thrives only in lean, dry prairie conditions. That $24 investment just became a living compass that grows more valuable with every single passing year it stays rooted in the ground. Did you believe every tall perennial in your yard needs staking and constant support to survive? Be completely honest in the comments below, because plant number 3 looks like it belongs on another planet entirely. Plant number 3, rattlesnake master. This $20 perennial produces silver-green spherical blooms so architectural and strange that most American growers assume it belongs in a science fiction garden, not their own backyard. Picture spiky yucca, like foliage holding firm through 90-degree July afternoons, its ball-shaped flower heads persisting through winter for 3 full seasons of ornamental value. Zones 3 through 8, full sun, sharp drainage. The USDA Plants Database confirms over 40 native bee species. Visit Rattlesnake Master exclusively, a specialist relationship most pollinator gardens never achieve with a single plant. Those same silver-green blooms hold their architectural shape through winter, delivering 3 full seasons of value from one $20 purchase. That single plant replaces multiple seasonal purchases most growers make chasing year. Round structure. The single mistake here is planting in clay or consistently wet soil. Without excellent drainage, the crown rots in standing water and the entire investment is lost. That $20 plant just became a private wildlife sanctuary, hosting bee species your neighbor's garden will never see. Have you ever grown a plant specifically to support native pollinators? Not for looks, but for purpose? Drop it below. Because the one taproot perennial that catches rainwater in its own built-in cups and shares it with goldfinches on the hottest July days is coming next. Plant number 4, cup plant. This $20 perennial grows leaves that fuse around its stem into natural cups, catching rainwater that birds drink and bathe in during the hottest July afternoons. Picture goldfinches and sparrows perched at these living water bowls while the plant itself reaches 10 feet tall, forming an instant privacy screen in a single growing season. Zones 3 through 8, full sun average soil. USDA Forest Service records confirm cup plants' fused leaves form a genuine living water feature, hydrating birds through droughts most gardens cannot offer wildlife at all. That same 4 to 5 foot taproot anchors a 10-foot privacy screen, replacing fencing costs most homeowners budget hundreds for every project. One $20 plant delivers screening value most growers pay far more to achieve with lumber and labor. The single mistake in Northeast states is letting it spread unchecked along property lines. Always check invasive status locally before planting near shared borders. That $20 plant just became a living water feature and a privacy fence in one something no single purchase at any garden center offers together. What plant or situation in your yard has defeated everything you have tried? Tell me below. Because the one taproot perennial that attracts specialist native bees found nowhere else in your garden. Plant number 5, wild bergamot. This $18 perennial attracts specialist native bees that visit no other flower in your garden, ignoring introduced species entirely. Once these lavender blooms open, picture an expanding colony spreading slowly through underground rhizomes, turning one single plant into a permanent, ever-widening patch across multiple growing seasons. Zones 3 through 9. Full sun, dry, lean soil. The USDA Plants Database confirms wild bergamot is a distinct species from common bee balm, drawing specialist native bees that genuinely ignore the introduced varieties most garden centers sell instead. That same documentation confirms its strong preference for dry, lean soil rather than the moist conditions bee balm requires to thrive. One $18 plant becomes dozens through natural spreading, eliminating future purchase costs entirely. The single mistake most growers make is confusing it with Monarda daima. Treating wild bergamot like bee balm and watering heavily causes root rot and decline. That $18 plant just became a permanent pollinator colony that multiplies on its own, year after year, without one additional dollar spent. Did you believe bee balm and wild bergamot were the exact same plant? Be completely honest in the comments, because what blooms next fills your entire backyard with the scent of vanilla. Plant number 6, Joe Pye weed. This $20 perennial fills your entire backyard with a natural vanilla scent every July, something no candle or diffuser can replicate from a living plant. Picture dusty pink flower clusters towering 6 feet overhead, creating instant privacy, while monarch butterflies arrive specifically for this nectar during their most critical feeding stage. Zones 3 through 8. Full sun, moist soil. University of Maryland Extension confirms Joe Pye weed's flower heads carry a genuine vanilla fragrance, a detail most plant lists never mention because they focus only on its butterfly appeal. That same documentation confirms it serves as a critical nectar specialist during monarch migration, fueling their journey south. One $20 plant delivers fragrance, height, and ecological value most growers buy 3 separate products to achieve. The single mistake is cutting it back mid-summer for tidiness. That timing disrupts monarch feeding precisely when they need this nectar most. That $20 plant just became a fragrance source, a privacy screen, and a monarch fuel station, all from one single purchase. What plant or situation in your yard has defeated everything you have tried? Tell me below. Because remember that grower in Missouri I mentioned earlier, his story is next. Earlier at the start of this video, I mentioned a grower in Missouri. This is that story. He is 63, Zone 6, and lost $240 in perennials during last July's heat wave before planting 3 taproot varieties from this exact list. The same ones Iowa State University Extension researchers confirm survive deep heat stress through root depth alone. July 2026 arrived with record heat, and all 3 plants bloomed harder than the year before, with 0 supplemental water and neighbors now asking exactly what he planted. If you are still watching, this next plant is why I made this video. Not for the algorithm, but for the grower who stayed long enough to deserve the most vivid purple color in the entire July garden. Plant number 7, ironweed. This $18 perennial produces the most vivid pure purple of any flower in the July through September garden, a color intensity no other perennial on this list matches. Picture monarch butterflies and swallowtails arriving specifically during peak migration, refueling on this exact nectar before continuing their journey south across thousands of miles. Zones 5 through 9. Full sun, moist soil. The USDA Plants database confirms ironweed serves as a specialist nectar source for monarchs and swallowtails alike. A dual pollinator relationship few perennials achieve simultaneously. That same documentation confirms its seed heads remain a vital food source for goldfinches throughout the winter months after blooming ends. One $18 plant feeds 2 distinct wildlife groups across 2 entirely different seasons. The single mistake most growers make is deadheading for neatness. Once flowers fade, removing those seed heads eliminates the only winter food source goldfinches depend on here. That $18 plant just became a genuine 2-season wildlife lifeline that most American gardens never manage to offer butterflies or birds at all. Have you ever grown a plant specifically to feed migrating wildlife rather than simply for beauty alone? Drop it below right now. Because what comes next is the most ancient living thing on this entire list. Plant number 8, prairie dock. This $22 perennial is believed to be among the longest-lived species in the American prairie, with individual plants potentially surviving for centuries once established in the right location. Picture an 8-foot flowering stalk rising straight up from giant basal leaves, zones 3 through 8. Full sun, lean soil. USDA Forest Service records confirm prairie dock as among the longest-lived prairie perennials known. Its 8-foot stalk delivering the most dramatic vertical accent in any summer garden. That same source confirms a 15-foot taproot, anchoring the plant permanently once settled. One $22 purchase becomes a decades, possibly century-long fixture with 0 replacement cost ever again. The single mistake is moving it after establishment. That 15-foot taproot makes relocation fatal, so choose its final spot permanently. That $22 plant just became a permanent, possibly century-long fixture that future generations may quietly inherit untouched. Have you ever planted something knowing it would genuinely outlive you in your own garden? Drop it below right now. Because what comes next is the very last lifeline monarchs find. Plant number 9, New England aster. This $18 perennial blooms in September and October, serving as the very last nectar source monarch butterflies find before their entire migration to Mexico begins. Picture star-shaped purple-blue flower clusters extending your garden's color season 6, full weeks beyond, when most perennials have already finished blooming. Zones 3 through 8. Full sun, moist soil. University of Vermont Extension confirms New England aster as an irreplaceable nectar source. The final fuel stop monarchs depend on before their entire journey to Mexico begins each year. That same documentation confirms its September through October bloom window extends garden color a full 6 weeks past most perennials. One $18 plant delivers the only late-season ecological role. Nothing else on this list provides. The single mistake most growers make is cutting back before October for tidiness. That timing removes the sole refueling station monarchs have left. That $18 plant just became the final lifeline. An entire migrating species genuinely depends on before crossing thousands of miles south. Did you honestly believe your gardening season ended the moment summer perennials finished blooming back in August? Be completely honest below. because what blooms next only ever opens after the sun goes down. Plant number 10, Evening Primrose. This $16 perennial opens its blooms only at dusk, glowing lemon yellow against the darkening sky, while attracting sphinx moths that hover exactly like hummingbirds. Picture an entire nocturnal garden experience most American growers never realize exists, happening quietly in their own backyard every single summer evening after sunset. Zones 4 through 8. Full sun, dry soil. The USDA plants database confirms evening primrose attracts sphinx moths specifically, nocturnal pollinators that hover with hummingbird, like precision during a window most gardeners never witness firsthand. That same documentation confirms it's lemon. Yellow blooms create a genuine evening garden experience unique among perennials on this list. One $16 plant delivers an entire nocturnal ecosystem. Most growers pay nothing extra to access. The single mistake is deadheading every spent bloom for neatness. Those seeds remain high-value winter food that birds depend on through the coldest months. That $16 plant just unlocked an entire nighttime garden experience most American growers genuinely never knew existed in their own backyard. Have you ever sat outside specifically to watch a garden come alive after dark? Drop it below right now, because plant number 11 waits 10 full years before delivering its single most dramatic bloom. Plant number 11, Adam's Needle. This $28 perennial waits 10 full years before blooming, then produces a 12-foot flower spike covered in hundreds of cream white flowers, the single most dramatic flowering event in any American summer garden. Picture sword-shaped evergreen leaves holding structure through every season, anchoring your garden's form long before that decade-long bloom ever arrives. Zones 4 through 11, full sun, dry soil. North Carolina State University Extension confirms Adam's Needle blooms once every 10 years, then produces that 12-foot spike before returning to bloom again on its own decade. Long cycle permanently. That same documentation confirms it remains evergreen across zones 5 through 11, delivering structure every single season regardless of bloom timing. One $28 plant becomes a permanent season anchor most growers replace annual color to achieve elsewhere. The single mistake is expecting yearly blooms like typical perennials. This investment mindset requires patience, because that 10-year bloom is the entire payoff. That $28 plant just became the single most patient investment in this entire garden, paying off once every decade without fail. Did you believe every perennial needed to bloom annually to actually earn its place in your yard? Be completely honest below, because the final plant on this list has a name that completely misleads you. Plant number 12, Swamp Milkweed. This $18 perennial carries a deeper taproot than common milkweed, thriving through July heat despite a name that wrongly suggests it needs constant wet, swampy ground. Picture pink mauve flower clusters hosting monarch caterpillars exclusively, the single host plant their entire species depends on for egg-laying across American gardens. Zones 3 through 6. Full sun, average soil. The USDA plants database confirms swamp milkweed serves as an irreplaceable monarch host plant, the exact species their caterpillars depend on for laying across American gardens. That same documentation confirms a taproot deeper than common milkweed, explaining how it thrives through July heat despite its misleading wetland name. One $18 plant secures monarch survival in a way no decorative perennial alone can offer. The single mistake is confusing it with common milkweed and fearing aggressive spread. Swamp milkweed does not spread by underground runners at all. That $18 plant just secured an entire species survival, something no decorative perennial on any garden center shelf can genuinely claim to do. What plant or situation in your yard has defeated everything you have tried this season? Tell me below, because 3 things about this entire list almost no source puts together are coming next. 3 things about this entire list that almost no source puts in one place. First, an 8-week deep soaking schedule trains every taproot downward, permanently drought-proofing each plant for life instead of leaving roots shallow near the surface. Second, loosening soil a full 12 inches deep before planting doubles taproot depth within the very first growing season alone, giving every dollar spent a stronger long-term return. Third, planting a low ground cover companion beside each taproot perennial shades the soil during that critical first summer establishment window, protecting young roots long before they ever reach true depth underground. Together, these 12 plants represent a permanent investment compounding decade after decade, eliminating the same July losses most American growers repeat every single season without fail. Here is exactly where to begin, based on your exact zone right now. Here is exactly where to begin. Zone to plants to dollar. For growers in zones 3 through 6 across the Great Plains, Midwest, and Northeast, start with sea holly, compass plant, rattlesnake master, prairie dock, and swamp milkweed. A $100 combined investment compounding decade after decade with confirmed multi-decade, even century-long lifespans. For growers in zones 6 through 9 across the South, Mid-Atlantic, and warmer Midwest, start with wild bergamot, Joe Pye weed, ironweed, Adam's needle, and evening primrose right now. While this record-breaking El Niño heat wave actively unfolds across American gardens this very week, draining water bills and patience alike. Miss this narrow planting window, and your very first established result waits an entire full year. You just discovered 12 perennials with taproots reaching 15 feet deep that bloom through record-breaking July heat without one single drop of supplemental water all season. If this saves your garden this summer, hit like right now so other growers find it before the next heat wave arrives. Comment what temperature your garden actually hit this July, and which plant from this exact list you are ordering first, right now, before this record heat wave gets even worse this week. Subscribe to Planner Lab, the growers who know more genuinely, spend less. We add to that knowledge every single week.